Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 46-year-old from Badow, Pontypridd, Wales, a staple and legend with the Cardiff Icehounds. He is running a muck of the real world and is an actual CEO and still finds time to be a board member of Ty Hafan Children's Hospice and is set to captain the Ty Hafan ice hockey team to a championship at the UK Charity All-Stars Challenge this weekend in Cardiff, Wales. Welcome to my grandma's cottage, James Pepper.
Wow. Thank you. If only I could skate as good as that intro.
I actually saw you sent the pictures for your poster. I'm not sure if the one photo looked like he had that good of a stride, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I know we just started meeting, but
wobbly legs.
So how long have you played hockey for?
Well, I suppose ice hockey, I was quite late to the game, really. I watched it since the age of 11. I went to the very first Cardiff Devils game with my dad, back in the 80s, and it was either go sort of street hockey or ice hockey, and street hockey was the one for me. So I played that for quite a few years, and then I probably my mid-30s I started playing with the Icehounds, and what an experience that's been.
The Icehounds, there's quite the squad there. When I posted you were coming on, I had a handful of Cardiff Icehounds reach out. They were excited.
They're a good bunch of boys. They really are. We've had some real characters there over the years. Like Dease used to play for us, and
oh jeepers,
God, talk about you don't get pre-game nerves with Dease. You get pre-game going in the dressing room with Dease.
You get the nerves going into the dressing room. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because he's gonna ask to spray paint you naked or something. I understand. I do. So is that the same team? I've seen pictures of his from a Halloween party. Would that be the same team that I may be alluding to? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Dease dressed like a scary nurse or something. Like, it was disturbing pictures.
He had many of those. You
guys are probably missing him around the Hounds, eh? Now that he's spreading his wings in Austria.
We're all a little bit more relaxed with him not around us. but we miss him.
Nobody's keeping you on your toes with his little tiny sneakers with the pumps, eh?
No, he's great. He's great fun. And the things, there's a funny story about Dease. When he was with the Devils, the equipment manager, and my son and his rugby team, he was only my son must have been 7 or 8, and his rugby team went to watch the Devils, and sort of Todd invited them all down to see the players and get autographs afterwards. So he lined up with all his little rugby mates and their little kids, and Dease spotted my boy Charlie, and I was like, oh no, So he walked up. Next thing you know, Charlie turned around with Dease's autograph with a Sharpie pen on his forehead. And Todd didn't know. Todd didn't know what was going on. It was like, oh, what have you done? It was brilliant. His face was a picture.
But so he wrote Dease on your son's forehead in Sharpie.
Yes. Yeah.
Dease.
That is
oh geez. So then your son would have to walk around with that for at least a day or two, eh? That's like trying to get the spray paint off after a game.
He actually Charlie found it really funny, but I wasn't that amused. But after about a day of scrubbing, he was able to go back to school without Dease written on his forehead.
So I get into how we know each other. Did we meet when I was playing over there? I don't recall.
No, not when you were playing. I think I saw you when you were very drunk supporting Joey Martin the one day with your top off. And
I don't know if I was that drunk. I was just having fun.
Yeah.
But I would have met a lot of people that night. So sorry. But you did slide into my DMs. You guys got a big weekend coming up. But when I posted you were coming on, Sean Phillips from Cardiff, he wrote, "You're a true asshole of the game." No, I'm just kidding. He wrote, "You're one of the best people in hockey, and you're a true gent," and blah blah blah. Ugh, make you want to puke hearing that stuff, eh?
Yeah, paid him for that one.
Well, speaking of him, he just warms my heart because he used to call me fat on Twitter and say I wasn't very good when the Devils signed me. And then I turned it around and now I got the shed, and he is the only person that thinks to tip me. He tips me once a month, like 10 pounds. And it means the world to me. So thanks,
He's trying to
Sean.
make up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is trying to make up. I know he feels guilty for calling me fat.
yeah. There's
Uh,
plenty of regrets there.
so anyways, T Haven, you're on the board there. I have been there in Cardiff. I went there to sign autographs and meet all the kids way back, I guess when I was still playing. So would you have been
Yeah.
involved back in 2014, 15?
No. So I sort of I got involved 2016. So yeah, a couple of years after that. But yeah, I sort of I got involved with T Haven through the All Stars really. So it was like sort of I played for prostate cancer for a few years up in Sheffield. That was great fun. And then I heard that they were going to have this T Haven team in the Cardiff event. So I was like, oh yeah, I got to be involved in that. So I got involved then, did the tour of the hospice and all of that sort of thing. And I suppose you would have felt the same. Like you go to a hospice and you think this is going to be pretty somber place. I don't know how to, I like a bit of fun and stuff like that. But we ended up having like a water fight with the kids, and like we're just going a boiling hot day, like squirting the kids with water cannons, and they would squirt us back. And it is just a lovely, lovely place. And they look after the kids, they look after the families, they provide like respite to the parents. And one of my really sort of close friends, Claire and Chris, who I sit with in Block 9. So big shout out to the Block 9, not so massive. Those guys, they had obviously,
Scarlett.
beautiful daughter Scarlett, and she was our mascot, with the T Haven team, and really, really, we miss her incredibly. But yeah, and that sort of inspired me to carry on just doing this thing, and trying to raise as much money as we can for the charity, really.
Yeah, and I would have met Scarlett back when I was playing there. So yeah, it hits home, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. Yeah, she's amazing. So if you see our jerseys this year, we've actually put Scarlett's badge on the chest, right? So it's closest to our hearts. And when I actually told the guys, the guys who make the shirts, that's what we wanted, and it was just you get a real sort of lump in your throat, But
Yeah.
yeah, they're amazing family. Claire and Chris are just absolutely amazing. We love them to bits.
And actually, yeah, since knowing them when I was over there and following along through social media, I did see he's carried on with raising money for T Haven and everything. The dads did this 10 and TAF or whatever. That looked hard, right?
Yeah, they are. I don't know where they get the energy from. It's
so what was that? Well, it was some kind of it was definitely something to do with fitness. I know it's something I couldn't do.
Yeah, well, they just seem to climb every mountain. They seem to walk. They just cover so
and
much
just to
distance.
raise money for a good cause and for something
Yeah,
that near and dear to them and help them.
yeah.
But yeah, when I went there that day, I agree with you. I didn't know what to expect when I went to a hospice, and then I think we got into a paint fight with the kids, and you see all their drawings and everything that they do there, and they try to make it, I guess, a better day, right?
Yeah, and they really appreciate any sort of sports teams. Like we're all amateur. Like we're just rec hockey players who.
I saw the picture for the poster. Sorry.
You saw the stands filled. We once had a sellout of Block 9 Rose Ed, mind, so that's good for rec hockey.
Well, one thing I did see is Kelly Coles just auctioned off one of my jerseys from 2014-15, and they ended up raising 505 pounds with my old jersey. So that's pretty neat for
that is pretty
Haven,
good.
So way to go, Kelly. And I asked who donated that jersey, and it was Steve Owen. So thank you, Steve Owen, for donating my old jersey. Not that anybody would want it, but I saw Kevin Hampson won it, and he was a small world. He was a 2 Ales and Hockey Tales jersey raffle winner as well. The guy's lucky. He's hot.
Yeah, very lucky. Kevin actually stands next to me at the Devils games. So we're in the back of block 9 together. So
Well, I tell you, I've seen a
yeah.
picture of him at the games with his 2 ales and hockey tails hoodie, and my gosh, that just
he's a big fan.
wow. I'm a big fan too. When people wear my stuff around, that's really cool, folks. And that's available at aleshockeytails.com, right? Anyways, so yeah, this charity event you guys got coming up, research team was hot. It says since 2008, they've raised £866,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're up to 875 now. So, it's flying up. But it's amazing, And
People helping people, eh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this started 2008. I think it was one game, two teams of just ice hockey fans basically getting together from different parts of the country. That was back in 2008, and it expanded to I think 4 teams a few years later. So we got 8 teams in it this year. So we're representing as the Barbarians, which is basically lots of different charities playing. So Gareth Hubbock's sort of running that team. You got British Heart Foundation, breast cancer, breast cancer now, I think. Yeah, Dreams Come True, Help for Heroes, Mind, prostate cancer, and Ty Hafan. So all of these different charities are just it's what they need right now.
Well, it is, and yeah, I got those all written down. The one I was looking at the jerseys trying to figure out who was what. So I guess for prostate cancer, you're not really sure what to put on the jersey. It's just like it's just a hockey player. I was like, what's that one?
Yeah.
But what do you put on there, right?
Yeah. Well, that's actually a hockey player. So that Danny Langhorne is the captain of that team, and he's got like a hockey player that's made up of men, lots of little men. So when you get close to it, you see all of these little hockey players inside the big hockey players. So
the big hockey player is a bunch of little guys. Okay, I couldn't tell. I would have had to. All right. So who is it for a trophy? You guys got a trophy?
Yeah. There's a trophy at the end of it. Yeah.
So this is going to get competitive. You get trophies out there. I don't give a shit if you're playing for charity. It's playing for keeps too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's a few teams I'm sure got some ringers in there, which suddenly we start seeing the rosters like I saw them yesterday. I'm like, how did that guy end up in this charity tournament?
People don't like losing, right? So once you lose, the next year you got to bring in a little something, right?
Yeah.
How have you guys done historically?
We're about average, middle of the table.
That's no fun.
Sets the standard for this year, though, doesn't it? We got to do better this year.
You need to bring in some ringers. Maybe get Dease back from Austria.
Yeah. Well,
that'd help.
Well, the thing is, Dease played for us the 1 year, and I looked at the roster, and I thought we had Ian Cooper, ex Cardiff Devils player. We had a couple of Bristol guys. We had a couple of guys in Dease as well. Dan Blakemore. So these guys all played hockey at a decent level. So I thought, this is going to be amazing. Saturday we did well. We had a couple of good games. They all went out. Saturday night.
Got totaled. Yeah.
Sunday, Dease is sleeping in the car park.
I've seen it.
Like just lying there. So
when he gets tired, it's something. Like I understand he would put in a lot of hours as an equipment guy, but he could sleep anywhere. like anywhere. People would be like walking over top of him on the bus and he just fart. So how does it work then? Is it up? So you sign up to play for Ty Hafan, and then as a player on that team, is it up to you then to try and raise as much money as you can, and then you're playing for those donations?
Yeah. So it's basically there's two things running. So you're trying to raise as much money as you can for the charity first and foremost. That's what it's about.
That's what it is. Yeah.
But
trophies also, after that, I understand.
Yeah. and then you have also trying to raise awareness for the charity as well as much as we can. Publicize it, and then the big fun event is really loads of friends getting together, playing some hockey and having a few drinks afterwards. And it's amazing the sort of fan engagement. You wouldn't think that a charity hockey tournament gets many people sort of involved, but because it's in the middle of the off season and people want a bit of a hockey fix, they come down and just cheer us on. And you tend to find line 1 is the most competitive. Line 1 goes out there and they're all aligned, these lines, so you can't get mismatches. We shouldn't. So first line goes out, and it's quite competitive hockey. Second line, it's okay. Third line, it's a gong show. You know,
There's probably skating around with penguins, eh?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, I could see that. So you guys do try and line up the lines then. So
Yeah.
that can't always be that easy though. You know, you get guys out there that take too long of shifts, you know. They
Yeah.
think they're not tired, but they just look
Yeah.
like brutal and they
Yeah.
look exhausted. And it's like, come on, man. Do you have
Yeah.
any of those guys that mess up the lines then?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they can't. There's some strict rules on it. So what you've got is a running clock, basically, and every 1 minute 30, you've got to make a change. So
Right.
every line is off. You've got to drop the puck. You can't sort of. You can play the puck before you come off, but by doing that, you've all got to get off. If you touch the puck after that, there's a penalty shot against your team.
Oh
So it
dear.
just stops anyone trying to stay on too long.
Mess
But I can tell
around.
you now, those 1 minute 30 shifts for some of these guys that go out
Too long.
on the first line
Too
is
long.
a long time.
Oh God,
Yeah.
a minute and a half sounds exhausting. For Matthew Meyer's testimonial, I had one shift. I just got off the bench, got a breakaway pass, scored, and I was so tired from celebrating, I had to go off. That was my whole shift, was from the bench to the net.
Oh, brilliant.
But hockey is an exhausting sport when you haven't done it in a while. Holy moly. Yeah, I was exhausted doing that. So I'm sure some of the fellas out there get pretty tired, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by Sunday, you're just everyone just moaning and groaning.
So so today's Friday. So does it start tomorrow?
So tonight is 7 o'clock tonight at Ice Arena Wales is the sort of launch where everybody just gets together and meets up as a big family again. We get some of the charities come down and meet the players, and some of the fans come and say hello, and we just start getting in the sort of whole all-stars atmosphere really.
And some people may hit Chippy Lane by the end of the night.
There's a lot of that. There'll be a lot of that going on.
There'll be some people running amok of the town, even if they have to play hockey, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I saw some photos last night. We got like sort of Clarky, he's just a legend of a fundraiser. He does these crazy things, like he drove a tuk-tuk to the Arctic Circle.
What is a tuk-tuk?
One of those little things that you get in India, like the little taxi things, like the little wheel at the front, two wheels at the back. So drove one of those from Chelmsford through to the sort of Arctic Circle, raised 30
Did you say Chelmsford to the Arctic Circle?
Yeah.
Isn't Chelmsford in the UK? Isn't that where Josh Batch is from?
Yeah, that's exactly where it is. Yeah. So he went.
He did that to the Arctic Circle in a bicycle? In a tuk-tuk?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yes, but those are the type of things that happen from All Stars. You get these spin-off fundraising events where people just sort of go and like, do you know what, I'm going to do a bit more this year. I'm going to do a bit more that year. And
I actually this last season raised some money for some charities, and all I had to do was talk to my friends in my shed. I didn't have to bike anywhere. Just thinking out loud. But that's what I've loved about doing this, is there has been a few charities that were near and dear to me throughout the last year that I've got to raffle jerseys off or whatever to help out, right? It's fun to help out sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So I got sidetracked again. Ty Hafan Ice Hockey Squad, yours, it says you guys have raised over 48,000 since 2016. So is that when this team started?
Yeah, well, I think there was a team before, but it was in the early days of the event, so it didn't really. We haven't got any records of what that raised, But yeah, so since 2016, we're now up to 60K. So the 48 awesome. was before this, but yeah, it's just a great bunch of guys who just think differently. If you go and just ask your friends repeatedly for money, people just get sick and tired of you. So you've got to think of something different every year, and pretty much that's what the guys have done.
So what are we talking, like, other than asking your friends? Because like I can't keep raffling off jerseys to the same shed people every time. So what have they done? Anything creative other than biking to the Arctic Circle on a tuk-tuk?
Yeah, there's loads of things that individuals have done. Like, there's a guy I should mention, Garand Walters, who lives in Belfast now. He's a Cardiff guy originally.
I know that name.
Yeah, well, he's a well-known guy around ice hockey and sort of thing, but he has just been he's an inspiration to fundraisers because he's a quiet guy, but behind the scenes he's always puts in the numbers every year, and he does things like raffles for jerseys, sweepstakes and things like that. But yeah, there's a few different things like that he's done for us when he played for Ty Hafan. But we've got sort of other events, like we run a ball hockey event with Danny Langhorn a few years ago. We run an inline hockey event as well. So what you're doing is, instead of just using the people you're actually widening fundraisers to like hundreds of people. So that things like that really work. But also businesses will donate to charity, but you just got to have a good story it's not always about having the brand on something. It's often about where there's a social sort of awareness benefit to it. So that's the sort of angle we always take to get sort of sponsorship, really.
Well, it does take time and effort really to raise money for anything, right? It's either your time or your effort or energy, like the dads climbing those mountains, or the bike going to the Antarctic, or there's always time and effort, right? And that everybody's doing this weekend. Like, yeah, you get to play hockey and have fun, but everybody's probably spending their own money to get hotels, to travel to Cardiff, to play the games. And I know they'll have fun playing hockey, but if they weren't making the time and effort, this doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge commitment from everybody, but that's what I say is the sort of all-stars family, really. They all get it, they all know what it's about, and they all look forward to it, I think. And because it's been put off for 2 years because of the pandemic, there's a lot of people going, yeah, I can't wait to get back.
Oh, for sure. So I'm curious, because the research team was hot, a little differently than normal. Couldn't just go to my normal honey hole to find all my answers. You're like a real life CEO. Should I be nervous talking to you?
No, not at all. Yeah, it's no, my business is Vista. We do retail technology, so I can't really sort of name some of our customers, but one of them is the sort of one of the biggest fast food chains in the world. And we look after all of their technology. So yeah, it's
technology, like all their computer systems company wide.
Yeah. So it would be things like if you can imagine like a grocery store, you've got the sort of router where you've got your comms coming into the business. Every piece of technology that sits inside the four walls of that business, we either deploy it, install it, but also maintain it if it goes faulty. So we got service desks, help desks, and
so how many employees are we talking here?
280.
That's enough. The shed has 2 volunteers. I got a website maker guy and a poster maker guy.
Yeah. Prior to the pandemic, we had 205 employees in the UK, and we've just won so much business in the last couple of years. We've just been recruiting. So anybody looking to get into IT, follow Vista, and there's loads of opportunities we've got at the moment.
So how long you been the CEO for?
Since 2018. But I've been with the business 24 years.
I find it interesting. So I climbing right to the top of a company. I guess it's kind of like hockey, right? Trying to make it to the top. But did you how did you get in with this company? Did you know people? Have you just literally work? You got to know someone to get to the very top, don't you? You just can't be that nice of a guy that they let you get to the top, right?
Yeah. So it is a long story, so I'll try and cut it short, right? But my father did start this company back in the 90s. Yeah. I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, I don't want to do tills and stuff like that. I'm not into all that sort of stuff. I worked in the motor industry, worked for Ford Motor Company, absolutely loved it. And my father, Phil Pepper, who a good friend of his or a colleague of his, kept saying to me, "Oh, James, come and join us. We got all this work. Come and join us." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do it." Anyway, I had a really bad day at Ford's the one day, just loads of customers having problems with different things. I thought, I'm done with this. I'll join. So I joined Vista, worked for a company called Primark, which is a pretty big brand in
They got the
UK.
ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
after Christmas, they get really cheap. I remember that
Yeah.
because we don't have
Yeah.
that many ugly Christmas sweaters in Canada. So the Waltons stocked up after Christmas when they'd go on sale,
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's a big
when
company then. So you had that and you you guys
yeah.
have
So where I went from that is my father, my father sort of sold the majority shares in the business. It was a consortium came in and really just made it very, very difficult for him, and he ended up leaving. So I went to my dad, like this sort of 20-something-year-old, going, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go get these guys. And he said to me, no, stay, make your own career, and maybe one day you'll get it back, So the story might be wrong, that it was years ago, but that's how it felt it went. And my dad said to me, yeah, I'm sure you'll do it. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it, Dad. And then, I just went through different management teams and try to be the best, just try to be the best I could.
tried to run amok, you could say.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
Run amok.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. and eventually, so I went to I was repair center manager, operations manager, ops director, technical services director, and then my
so are you asking to switch the departments? Like there's, when there's that many different departments and you're kind of the lead of each of them, is that them grooming you to become the CEO, or is that you asking, I want to take over that one now and that one? Why are you switching?
I was just through different managers and different leaders that I was working for. The opportunities were those.
They just kept coming.
Promotion, yeah. And I just said, I want to go for that job, and I would just apply for them. But at every role I went into, I just found like loads of things wrong with it, already. And I was like, I can fix this, and it was it wasn't always easy, but I did find I saved so much money for the company in every role, and actually I did it by recruiting more people for those roles. So it was normally in business people say you reduce the cost by reducing people, but I was sort of just basically saying I need more good people to make more money for the business. And
you need good people to do things right. And I totally get when you say you want to be the best, because being good at stuff is way more fun than not doing well. Right?
Well, I never made it as a hockey player, did I? So, I had to do something well.
You could say I never really did either. Well, that's really neat. And yeah, I think in hockey, to make it, or in business and anything, it's work ethic, but it's also being a good person and people liking you. So obviously you're doing okay with the messages I got after I said you're coming on, and then it seems like you're running amok in the real world. So folks, check out Vista. I hear that I might know someone in there now, and they might even think about sponsoring the shed someday. Just got to play my cards right. What else do I got here? So growing up in Badaw, Pontypridd, Wales, how'd you get into hockey then? You kind of said that you were 11, you went to the first Devils game.
Yeah, so it's Bather. Badaw, Bather.
You saying what?
Bather.
Beda? No, that's not how you say that. That's not Badaw?
No.
Well, it's spelt that way.
Yeah. No, as I said, I got into hockey with watching the very first Cardiff Devils team. There was a guy called Big Bill Taylor.
Small world. I just met him at the Scottish Fest pre-COVID here in Kincardine. He was here.
No way.
Yeah, we had beer together. I got a picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was brilliant. And at the time it was like, I've never seen a sport like this, and this Bill Taylor was just like roughing people up and smashing people into the boards and stuff. But back in those days, we never had plexiglass. It was all nets around the boards. So the boards would be like sort of waist high. So a player got hit, you'd be into the net. Feet up over the top. So yeah, I loved that. And it was a great sort of sport to get into. And yeah, just lots of my friends ended up going through the Cardiff Devils sort of junior sort of development, and you know, and we still, you know, they still come and jump on with the Hounds now and again now, and yeah, it was really good, really good.
I find it very interesting with like playing in Cardiff how they always say like once a devil, but like going into the party in town here, I guess it was about 5 years ago. And like people come up to me and they're like, "Hey, do you know this guy? You played in Cardiff?" And they're like, "I know you played in Cardiff." And like, then all of a sudden you got a tie with a guy that I would have never ever met any other way, but it's because we both played in Cardiff. So then I meet that Bill Taylor, and then we sat and had a beer and chatted about like the rink
Yeah.
he played in the inaugural season. And yeah, I guess you kind of are like a devil for life, right? Or there's a lot of teams with those sayings. But once you played for a team and you were part of it, like it does give you a link to a lot of other people.
Yeah, and there's a massive link with ice hockey as well in different countries. Like, you know, I with the business, I'll go on a video call with somebody, and they'll be in like Chicago or something, and it'll be like quite a tense bit of a standoff because the meeting is like sort of some negotiation on something, and throwing in an icebreaker about the Blackhawks or something like that. All of a sudden, it's like everyone's like shoulders relaxed. They're all sort of talking about it. I think it's the same the world over with ice hockey, but there is definitely a link to sort of Cardiff, and I don't know. Obviously, you as a player, you know, your experience. What is it like? You know, stepping out onto the ice in Ice Arena Wales, or even the Big Blue Tent. You know.
Well, I only stepped out in the big blue tent, and like you'd get that song playing and the lights out, like you would be as jacked up for a hockey game as you could get, especially sitting in the locker room in the big blue tent with everybody stomping their feet above you. And then you go out with the lights out, and then that, I think it was a Nickelback song, Burn It to the Ground, would play. And like it was electric in the big blue tent. But then going out for Matthew Meyer's testimonial, I hadn't done that in a while. I hadn't gone out on the ice in a while. And when I did, you know, the devil stuff's all red, realistically. I could see all my 2Ale stuff in the crowd. And I guess I'd never really seen it in real life. I've only been talking to people in my shed. And to see it in reality, that there was people actually wearing it, wild.
Yeah.
There was a baby wearing it in a onesie, a 2Ales and Hockey Tales onesie with a hat on. And man, it just melts your heart when you see that shit.
Yeah, you got quite a thing going on.
Strange. Yeah, it's fun though. It's really fun. You know, I'm on holidays and I got up at 7 a.m. to talk to you. I usually wouldn't be getting up at 7 a.m. before this started. Just thinking out loud.
That's
Well, it's I'd say passion too, though. Like when I see what you're doing for the world, wanted to get to know you. So, what do I got here? So you just had a passion from the game right from the start then, as soon as you watched it.
Yeah.
How long did it
Yeah.
take you to put skates on and push around a penguin?
Oh, well, I think I had skating lessons when I was about so the first game I was about 11 or 12 that I went to watch the Devils, and I straight away started learning to skate then. But we had sort of local sort of street hockey teams and stuff like that, and it was just
It was actually organized, like someone was organizing the street hockey.
Well, it started off as a sort of knock around in a local school and things like that, and then there was like a proper league, a Welsh league that you could play local teams, and then we went to like the national finals in Brixton and in London, and that was an experience. Like, you know, a couple of sort of kids with like sort of just like pads put together with whatever, you know, and playing against these guys who could really play. It was just amazing. But yeah, we had a goalkeeper, Nathan McKenzie, he's like 7 foot tall or something. But when he was a kid, he's a goalkeeper, he had no pads at all. So we
That'd be difficult.
Yeah, he had a set of cricket pads to start with, and we managed to get some funding off like Princess Trust or one of these sort of like trusts to basically to buy him his first set of pads. So it was like all of a sudden he turned up at this tournament with these like perfect brand new pads to sort of slide around on the concrete. Yeah, but yeah, it was just that's where I had the sort of the the thing about hockey, and then I sort of really just watched. You know, I've been a season ticket holder for the Devils, you know, since then really, and and then the Hounds came along at the right time, and yeah, just just fun really. But you said about the Big Blue Tent. The rec hockey experience in Big Blue Tent would be slightly different to yours, I think. But we used to laugh because when we came off after a game, and bear in mind, rec hockey, you play at like midnight or something like that. It's like midnight face-off time, and we'd come off, everyone would get in the shower. And in the Big Blue Tent, whenever they filled the Zamboni up, the showers would go freezing cold because they used the hot water for the Zamboni. So it would be like everyone running to get in these showers before you got the freezing cold. But also we used to go into we used to change in the away dressing room. So the Devils had their dressing room. We had the away, and the away, I think it had the DNA on every hockey player that had ever been in there on that floor. It was absolutely rank.
Yeah, it took special people to really enjoy the BBT for what it was. Our shower at the end of that season, well, it didn't really drain. So it was like 6 inches to a foot deep of water by the end. And instead of being grossed out and complaining about it, what we did was screwed on cup holders in the shower and started having beers in the shower. So you got to embrace it sometimes, right?
Yeah. I remember that. It'd be about like 6 inches deep of like brown, like So you had to get in there first, didn't you?
It's a special place though. I like when I always talk about how much fun it was. Like one memory I have, like Andrew Lord's a player coach. He's skating around with a whistle on his glove, trying to do practice and coach. But then like the Zamboni broke down the one day, or the Zamboni driver just didn't show up. And then all of a sudden you got our star defenseman, Andrew Hotham, flooding the ice for the boys, right? And then you got a player coach, you got a D-man flooding the ice. And it's like everybody was just willing to pitch in any way they could.
Oh, they were brilliant. Yeah, they were really good days, and you made do with whatever you had. I remember the in rec as well, the referees. So I know you've had James Irons on the show before, haven't you? Yeah. James was a really good, as he was going up through the ranks, like learning his trade. He would referee some of our rec games, and always found him really fair, called it like it was, but kept the game going. But in rec hockey, you turn up and you have some absolute howlers of referees. So we had one game in Milton Keynes where I think the ref was the brother of one of the players and was just like, nothing was going our way. And then we had another one where the referee forgot his glasses. So was kept saying, I didn't see that. I haven't got my glasses. And we're like, so it's just hopeless. But you do it for the love of the game, don't you?
Yeah. I've never heard the saying absolute howler before. Heard pissed as a fart. David Sims always says that to me. I could see there being some tough reffing. So do you know who's reffing this weekend for the big charity event?
Well, it's normally a lot of the sort of pro refs sort of give up their time as well for this. So I know there'll be Colsey, he'll be there. There's I haven't seen who's on the full list, but normally they give up their time to help us out as well.
Well, we better get into the Cardiff Icehounds. So one guy just had on Chris Bailey that I just met. You said he was skating with you guys before the testimonial?
Yeah, so what we tend to have is, because we got a lot of ex the Hounds are a lot of ex sort of junior development players that have taken a break from the game, gone away, had families, and then gone, do you know what?
I still like hockey and I need some exercise.
Yeah. So they sort of jump on with us all the time. So we had Phil Hill on a couple of weeks ago. We had Max on the other week as well. So Max was skating with us.
Max Beerbrier. What a story he's got. My word.
I know. Well, you got, this is what I looked at across the dressing room. You got a 3rd round draft pick of the New Jersey Devils sat next to a guy we call Shit Jeff.
Is that for his hockey playing ability?
Yes. Yeah. So, but yeah, the Hounds, they're just just a really good bunch of guys. And yeah, so Chris contacted us to say, look, I'm playing in Myers testimonial. Can I jump on, get some ice with you guys? And we said, yeah, no problem. Jump on. So he kitted up and what have you. And after about 15 minutes of playing, it's like, we were all like, where's all this black stuff coming from on the ice? There's just bits of black, like, plastic and stuff like that all over the place. And so everyone's picking this stuff up because, like, just go flying on it, don't you? And so we looked around, and then Chris came out. He went, "Oh, my boot's disintegrated." So his boot had been, like, his skates had been in the attic since he quit hockey, right? And they just deteriorated so badly the boot has just exploded. So he ended up playing the rest of the scrimmage with like masking tape just holding the toe part of this boot on.
Making do.
Yeah, that's rec hockey for you.
After the testimonial, when we were signing autographs and whatnot outside the room for a bit, the one kid says to me, he goes, "Can I have your stick?" And I thought to myself, I don't need that anymore, do I? So I signed it and gave it to him, but then I went in and got the other one and I gave it to a different kid because I'm like, I don't need that shit anymore. We got through it. We got through that game,
That's a really cool thing to do. I remember as a kid having a stick off one of the Devils players, and I was just like, "Oh, this is so amazing." I used to love, like, with the wooden sticks where they snap, like, and somebody just pass them over the nets to the crowd. But I always remember I had one of those old Coho ones with the fiberglass.
Yeah.
And I was trying to play with out in the street and ended up with just like fiberglass splinters all in my hands, where it was just absolutely ruined. But that type of thing, that just creates memories for these kids. It's amazing.
Well, and once you have
the next generation.
Once you have kids, you see it more of what it can do, the impact it can have, because you see it happen to your kids. You don't forget the players that give you stuff, right? You always remember which player it was that gave you that, right? I forget what I was gonna say. There's something else. It wasn't about that, but I forget. So Dease, what type of player is he on the Cardiff Icehounds back in the day? I bet you he sucked, eh?
No, he's probably one of the better players, actually.
That is scary shit. If that's not good.
Yeah.
Was he out there knee brace, just a big dip in, just cruising around, chirping people?
Yeah, chirping people. He was. I remember this one game where there was a guy, like one of the toughest guys on the opposition. He's got the full face cage on, neck protector. This guy's
and acting like an idiot.
Yeah. And this guy's just throwing hits, and like with rec hockey, you always have you either play non-contact or contact, because we all got to get up.
So you do play contact? Some people play contact.
Some rec teams play contact, but you've got to get up to work on a Monday morning, So I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. So anyway, the referees normally say before the game, just to confirm it's a non-contact game, and stuff like that. Anyway, this guy, full face cage, was going around knocking lumps out of some of the smaller guys, and Dease was like, "I'm going to get him," So he went off the ice and he grabbed the guy by the face cage and just literally skated around the ice with him with his helmet and his head still in there, just
dragged him around by his head.
Yeah, just like a rag doll, it was brilliant. But he was he just did things like, he was all you'd get back to the change room early and put like deep heat in your boxer shorts, and stuff like that. So like, the guys would be getting, Dease, and there was one guy had his brand new trainers, like these great big pumps, like, brand new trainers, and Dease screwed them into the wall, like through the eyelets. And he was there with this like blunt screwdriver trying to undo them afterwards,
Yeah, when I was injured, I wouldn't be out for practice, right? So I would be off ice with Dease, and I would see some of the shit he was doing to people, right? And it's like, geez, how did you come up with that? Why?
Yeah, how's he still alive as well? Because I'm, do you know what? I've always taken it with, like, I love the banter that you get with rec hockey, and I really enjoy it. And everybody that joins in, I think, that's part of why you play. But the one time I lost it with Dease, and I absolutely lost it. I got clipped on the ear with a stick through my helmet, so it's just on the edge. I had like a cauliflower ear where you get like it's all swollen and there's fluid in it. So anyway, it'd been there for a couple of days, and I tried to get a doctor's appointment to try and get it like sorted out. Anyway, I ended up getting a hot pin, popped it myself, right? And I was like, that's so. The next day, raging infection in my ear. It was like bright red. But we had one of these Hounds, like, sort of night out, end of season awards or whatever. And I turned up and I sat down not far away from Dease. Dease knew I had this bad
I
ear,
know
and
what he did. He came up and flicked you, didn't he?
he flicked my
He's
ear.
such an asshole.
I know you said it, and I just turned on him. I was like, ah, I leapt across the table at him. But I tell you what, the pain was just
Oh,
agony. Yeah, so
infections are brutal.
yeah,
Brutal. Oh,
yeah.
I got one playing senior when I was done. I was back here, and I got with septic in my elbow, and I had an IV in my arm for like 16 days. It was awful. Infections are very painful.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully I went back. I went to the hospital the following day, and they sorted it all out because it was pretty grim.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. So how many games in the season do the Cardiff Icehounds play?
Oh, it's not that many. It's like, about 10 games a season, something like that. It's sort of, we play in like the Southwest Conference, but the problem with it is you can't really play local teams in ice hockey. You can't. There isn't a team in Swansea. So there's Bristol now. So hopefully there'll be some more competition there. But so we used to play like Slough, and like, so that's down on the M4 towards London. We used to play Bracknell, Milton Keynes, Basingstoke, Alexandra Palace.
I don't know
All
what
of these.
that one is, but the other ones, all like those are
Yeah,
the hockey towns you keep hearing about, right? They're just not in
yeah,
the EIHL.
yeah. But we would tend to, in Cardiff, we would tend to get quite good ice time. Like, it would be early evening on a Saturday after the Devils, maybe something like that. But away games, Bracknell, 12, 15, like,
At
12,
night.
15, yeah, face off.
And
And
and then you go home and then you go
yeah,
be a CEO the next day?
yeah,
That
yeah.
doesn't make sense.
No, no. Just get robots to do it in the morning.
That's doing it for the love of the game right there.
Mm.
So do you guys have a coach?
So we've had different coaches over the years. Normally a player, one of the players will be coach.
Because you need
So
someone to just say like what the lines are gonna be and like
yeah, yeah.
how many guys are on this team?
Well, there's about 22 in the squad, but as you can imagine, because it's all sort of, it's just
Whenever you
them.
can make it, you can, right? Some
Yeah,
guys can't
yeah,
make 12, 15 and Slough.
yeah, yeah. But we haven't had a season this season, just because we were too late coming out of COVID. I don't know, like in Wales, there was all this thing at the start of the season over whether the rink was going to be open and stuff like that. It's just, so like, you had teams in England that have been playing since like last summer, and
Yeah.
then in Wales it was like, Todd wasn't, didn't have a permission to open the rink. Welsh government, are like, would be an extra cautious. You can't do this, you can't do that. So it's just crazy. So yeah, we didn't have a sort of proper sort of registered team this year, but we've kept training throughout, and back, in September we'll get going again.
So is that I'm pretty sure when Dease showed me these Halloween photos of a team party, that I'm pretty sure that was the Cardiff Icehounds. And it looks like you guys really run amok when you have a Halloween party. Do you guys just get after it then? You got some animals on your team or what? Halloween parties in the hockey world can always get carried away, but your Icehounds one looked like there was quite the outfits too. Dease
Yeah,
was scary looking.
yeah. I think that there's a couple where DC used to be. They used to have these big rink parties as well, which were that they weren't ice hounds, but they were sort of more. They were more like in the big blue tent. They used to have these big Halloween nights and stuff like that. And DC used to go to town dressing up for those.
Oh yeah.
Really, really did. Yeah, but yeah, no, we just used to have like sort of the end of season awards. That it was funny. Like we had they started off, it would be in like a local, just a local pub, like, and a load of us turn up and we'd have a fake trophy, like everyone has the fake Stanley Cup, don't they? The foil
Oh
Stanley Cup,
yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, we do all that sort of stuff, and then a couple of the guys. So we had a couple of Czech players join the team, and one of them worked at the Celtic Manor Hotel. So there's all of a sudden the awards night is at the Celtic Manor. We have this like great big dining room and all this great food and stuff. But yeah, it didn't have the same sort of the same sort of thing as the dressing up in the pub had.
I found it kind of interesting driving by the Celtic Manor when I was going to Matthew Meyer's house. They built like a building or something like underneath it. It doesn't look as nice from the highway.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know,
that's
what were they thinking there? I didn't understand that.
yeah,
It doesn't look nearly as nice, but
yeah. And loads of people say, is that a rink? Because it's called the ICC, but it looks like it's ice, so it looks like
yeah,
there's like a rink on the front of it. But yeah, it's International Convention Center. So yeah, there's
I don't know who
yeah,
made that
it doesn't look
decision.
great.
Doesn't look
Yeah,
great.
yeah, it doesn't look great.
Good grotto there for the kids, though. That's the only time I went there. But anyways, okay. So this weekend, we'll move on from the Cardiff Icehounds. But we better give a shout out to them because there was a lot reach out there. I think there's some shed enthusiasts on your team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this weekend though, how do you get on the T Haven squad? Do you just ask to be on, or you guys running tryouts?
Yeah, so it's basically done with an application this year's application was done back in 2020 because it was 2020's event that was cancelled. So what happened is between then and now we've lost a few players. So we just opened up the applications a few months ago for the additional players to replace. And yeah, you just basically sort of say, this is the team I want to play for. I'd like to raise money. I'd commit to raising them a minimum of X or whatever. And this is my sort of hockey experience, really, so we know where to position you on the teams, really.
Yeah.
And then that goes to the committee. They just go through sort of selection, and just make sure all teams should have fair amount of quality of players and what have you, and skills and experience. And then the teams are notified. So the players would have known about it. Most of the players would have known about it since 2020, 2019 maybe even. And then the few sort of additions would have come in the last couple of months. So
Okay. Well, it looks like a fun event. Looks like everybody's gonna have a great time. One thing I had written down that I never asked was, it says you're a board member for T Haven. So what for the children's hospice there that I was at? What all goes on with that being a board member? You just part of the meetings of like the vision and how you were gonna raise money and things like that.
yeah, so it's obviously it's an organization. So and because it's clinical care, um and most charities have to have this anyway. You have a board, which is an exec team, which it's their job. They work there. They're the directors of the charity, and then you have trustees, which are non-executives. So basically, that's my role there is a trustee, non-executive. So effectively, I'm there to make sure that what's being done is the correct thing. It's got governance. I also, because I've got a technology background, I offer assistance in that area and expertise, and if they're considering any technological developments and things like that, and operations as well, I'll sort of have a view on that. So each NED or trustee has a sort of a skill set and experience, and there's a few of us. So some of them will be consultants, as in medical professionals, doctors, nurses. There's a whole range of people who are sort of. There's probably about 7 or 8 of us that are trustees on the board, and we work
And
with the executive.
and you've been doing that since 2016. You became the CEO in 2018. So what's a typical day like for a CEO that's also going to Slough some nights at 12 o'clock to play hockey and also being on a board member and everything? Like, what's a typical day like for you? You're not getting
Well,
up at 6 a.m. to talk to people in your shed, probably.
yeah. Well, I'm a bit of a nightmare with my sort of work-life balance, really, because I just throw everything at everything, and hope things stick, sort of thing. So yeah, I tend to sort of I do quite late nights, but that's mostly thinking about different things we could do as a business, and because you've got to be sort of prepared for when you're meeting the team the next day. It's in any environment, just being sort of prepared. But a lot of my role in Vista really is sort of meeting with customers, setting sort of sales strategy, seeing how the sales team are doing, see how the ops team are doing. I've sort of invested a lot of time in working with new people who've joined the business as well. So whenever we have a new starter in the company, I'll go and sit with them and talk to them and tell them all about the story about where Vista came from, and really, it just, I find that you invest that time in people, they give so much back in terms of the effort. But yeah, I'm really proud of the culture we have in Vista. We've got like it's real strong people culture, and everybody looks after each other, tries to do the best they can for the team and for our customers. So
Sounds like
my
you
day
got
is,
it right.
yeah, well, we try, but it's so my day would sort of consist of meeting with people, sales or operational meetings really. And then with Ty Hafan, it's more a case of sitting with them when there's board meetings, or if they've got a particular challenge or something like that they want to run past me, I'll
And
sit with them.
you said you also have you have a son that Dease wrote his name on his forehead. So you have one kid then?
I got a daughter and a son. So my daughter's 18 next month, so she's all grown up, and
They stop paying attention to you when they grow up, eh? I'm already noticing it already. Colby's not even 10 yet, and he's already starting to like want to not hang out with me as much as everybody else,
Yeah. Well, my son plays a lot of football. He loves his football, and so I end up sort of spending a lot of time traveling in the car with him as well on the weekend. So, but I absolutely love that. I love watching him play, and my daughter, yeah, she's fantastic as well, and I'm very proud of them both. And she's yeah, she went through that phase where she used to be daddy's little girl, and she's all grown up now. So yeah, we still have a great
it happens fast though, doesn't it?
It just, and like through the pandemic, she's gone from being like 15 turning on 16 to like 17, now she's 18. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, like seems like yesterday I was just cruising around Cardiff Bay. Colby's dressed as Hulk and Zoe's in the stroller. Now they're like older and they got their own ideas, and man,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's best thing going is watching them grow up. But okay. What else do I got then? Who's the favorite this weekend? What team you think's gonna go in there and run amok?
Well, do you know what? I was doing a bit of digging last night. So we had a little skate with the Ty Hafan team last night. The players that could make it down, because some of the guys are obviously around the country. So we had a skate with the guys last night, and that was good fun. Everybody enjoyed getting on the ice, getting together. But I had a little chat with a few of the other sort of teams to sound out which players are on the teams, and I've got a feeling dreams come true. They've got a very, very strong, fast first line. A few of the players have played at a very high level as well, and they're young, so that makes a massive difference.
Age matters.
You got breast cancer care. They're always solid because they've got Steve Moria, ex Cardiff Devils.
Yeah,
he plays for them. Fantastic, skillful player.
But he's got to be old by now. Hey.
Yeah, he's I haven't played against Steve for a few years. But
so what line are you on?
I'll be on line 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you've seen my bendy legs, haven't you? In that photo, yeah?
Well, it looked like you were buzzing down the wing in that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just great camera work.
I think it's really cool though that like it takes people to organize something like this. So obviously I think you're on the board for this as well, right? For the UK charity, right?
Oh, so I'm on the committee for this. So
the committee, the board, I don't know,
Oh, well, do you know what, Brent? It's really embarrassing. This is right. So a couple of years ago, this is nothing to do with the committee, but like this about the All Stars. A couple of years ago, I think it was like 2017 or something, and we were in the dressing room with the team. It was like the last game we're going on, and my back was in bits. Like my lower back was killing me. I was like, and I said to one of the guys, "Oh, do you know what? This is the last time I'm doing it. I'm done. I'm done after this game." The end of the game, they had a guard of honor for me, like I'm retiring and all of this sort of stuff, retiring from All Stars. So they did this guard of honor. I was like, what the hell is this all about? You know. So anyway, I got off, and then it transpires that the person I said that to went and told one of the organizers that it was going to be my last game for the All Stars, and you know, because I'd raised money, do this. So anyway, I was really embarrassed, and then I came home. I was like, I can't play a game now because of this. You know,
because they did it.
Following year, filled the application form and played the game.
It's
So
hard
there's a
to
few
give up
people
when you like doing something. It's hard to give it up, but
Yeah.
back pain can suck, and that can happen playing hockey in older ages. Yeah, I know. I haven't played much hockey lately, but other than Matthew Meyer's testimony, I skated one time like 2 years ago. I had back spasms after 2 shifts and went home. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it?
So, if you went to Chippy Lane, what would you order? What's the
Well,
CEO of a big company going to order on Chippy Lane, or can we not get you down there?
yeah, I think I would go with chicken curry off the bone and chips, I think.
Curry, eh? Can't do that, really. I don't do the curry, but okay. So then on your chips, is it curry spice on that too?
Yeah, curry sauce, you know,
Sauce.
like
It's sauce,
yeah,
not okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, how long's it been since you've been to Chippy Lane?
A couple of months.
Mm.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's probably about March time, something like that.
So if you guys end up winning it this weekend, you're gonna have to hit the town, eh?
Yeah, I think we'll go to Chippy Lane just for you in
Thank you.
celebration. We'll send you a photo. Yeah.
Yeah. Team photo at Chippy Lane. Everybody just mucking it up, eh?
Sliding around everywhere.
Well, I think it's great what's going on in Cardiff. It's people helping people, and like I don't know how it started this hockey. You said it was just 2 teams, and then it just, I guess, it snowballed into what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's actually it was the brainchild of like sort of Gareth Hubbock. So do you know Hubs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gareth Hubbock and Davy Grant. So they wanted to do something to basically raise money. I think, you know, I won't go into the detail because it's personal to them, but like it was in memory of their fathers. But yeah, you know, and from that, it's just, you know, just boomed into the beast it is today, you know.
And would you say that you kind of got into it from Scarlett and Chris and Claire?
Yeah, I was already involved in Ty Hafan, but I think knowing Scarlett personally, I think I sort of and Chris and Claire obviously, and the fact that she was our mascot and all of those sort of things, it just made me sort of say, well, this is something I can't let go of, you know. And also another thing is like obviously I'm captain this year. You know, it's whoever is captain of this team in the future needs to know that history and needs to sort of make sure that that's what this is all about, and it's for children like Scarlett.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they're huge Devils fans, and they're part of the Devil family, and yeah, that would have been, can't imagine what they've been through, but that they keep raising money for it, right? And they keep her memory alive with what they do and how they live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it should be a great.
They're lovely.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just say they're absolutely lovely people as well. You know, we have great fun at the Devils games. So that, you know, it's just full of laughter and stuff. You know, everybody at the back of our little block 9, right behind the sort of away bench. You know, can shout abuse at all of those Belfast players and stuff.
Well, it is interesting, in like the Cardiff arena or the other arenas around the league, is each block can be your own little family too, right? There's the Cardiff Devils family as a whole, but then you guys do have your blocks where you can sit beside the same people for years and years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it does, it becomes that sort of regular Saturday night, Sunday night thing, isn't it? And yeah, and if we found this a lot through sort of when we were coming back from COVID, if someone was missing or someone hadn't turned up for a few games, everyone's asking, you know, after them, and you know, are they okay? And
yeah,
you know, and yeah,
you're part of something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't really have anything else today. You know, it's Freezy Friday at the cottage baseball dime here today. So I gotta get the kids for their freezies, you know, big baseball game. You got anything else for me before we shut her down?
No, we'd love it. I know you were sort of I think you were going to be involved in the pro game, the All Stars pro game if we got that going. We're not going to do it this year, obviously, for All Stars, but if we get it going again in the future, we'd love to have you involved in that.
That sounds great. It's yeah, it's it's I wish I could come to Cardiff all the time. I guess we'll see where the life schedule's at
Yeah.
and the kids' schedules and all the other things, right? Yeah, it's flattering to get invited back years later. So that's neat. So yeah, I guess what's the pro one then? That's actual pro players go out and
Yeah.
play for the same type of thing. We raise money and
Yeah, so they've only sort of run it once, and it was a few years ago, and it was a Friday night game, which was basically Team Red versus Team Blue, and it was guys who have played pro in recent years, so it might be 5 years retired, 10 years retired, or whatever. So a bit like a testimonial type
yeah.
sort of standard. And some current players as well. So it was really sort of a case to fill in the stadium with hockey fans to see like an exhibition game, and we had a really good turnout. But just this year, it's been so complicated with just trying to plan these things, and not knowing what was going to happen, whether we were going to get other restrictions and things like that when we were planning this. So yeah, it's the guys are keen to do that again in the future, but it pulled in quite a few people, and we were able to auction the jerseys and all that sort of stuff, So
Well, it sounds great and it's for a great cause. So yeah, if I could be there, that would be great to get the invite. I coming to Matthew Meyer's testimonial was, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say when I got back here, I kind of lost the love of hockey for a while because of where life was at that point with two little kids and whatnot and no job. But you get it back years later, right? So
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. That's what we find. We get so many people that I've got guys contacting me this week saying, "Can I come and skate with the Hounds?" And they're like, they haven't played for years because they've had a break where they've had kids, and they've seen that kit in the attic or in the garage, and they're going, "Do you know what? I gotta get back
Gotta
out there."
give it a whirl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just being around the boys again. And I guess I found it going out to my shed and talking to my friends, but that's what you miss. You miss the team, you miss the guys, you miss being in the locker room. And I'm sure the Cardiff Icehounds locker room realistically is not much different from the Cardiff Devils. The banter, the tomfoolery, it's all still the same no matter what league you're in. That's the shit you miss.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like the camaraderie, isn't it? You have, everybody's got each other's backs and stuff like that. It makes such a difference. Yeah.
And when you've gone through stuff together, when guys have had your backs, you form bonds that you don't get in the rest of the world, you could say, other parts of your life. It's just not the same bond as if a guy's willing to like actually fight someone bigger than them for you or something like that.
Yeah.
Or block a shot, That's never fun. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys have a great time this weekend. I'm sure you will. And I'm sure whoever wins is just going to be hitting the town hard, but I bet most people will. And I hope to get sent a bunch of Chippy Lane photos this weekend, right?
We'll make it happen.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, I just met you, but very impressive everything you're doing. That's about all I'd have to say. I know this is supposed to be just a hockey podcast, but you're doing quite well at everything. So good. Keep up the good work. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Peps and Wally.